talking about the module and the assessment for this module. Right, the module each week, so there'll be an online lecture like this, so that'll be available in the module area of Blackboard, and you should always view this lecture before the workshop. A lot of the things in the workshop will assume that you've watched the lecture, so I'll make sure that the lecture is available each week in good time before the workshop. There will also be a face-to-face workshop that will be appearing on your individual timetable. You only need to attend one of the scheduled face-to-face workshops. So if you can see more than one on your timetable, get in touch with the school office and find out which one you should be going to. So that's the school office at journalism@salford.ac.uk. But if you look at your personal timetable, you should only be timetabled for one of the workshops. So the things we're going to be looking at through this module is predominantly news writing. How do you actually write a news story? There's a very particular style you have to use. We're going to be looking at where do we get stories from, so that's news gathering. We're going to be looking at the basic skills of interviewing. How do you talk to people to get useful quotes and to find out what you want to know? We're going to look at issues of news values, so what makes a story news and what makes one news story better than another. And then we're also going to look at working effectively in a multimedia newsroom. None of us will just be working in one medium, whether that's TV, radio, print or online or social media. You'll be working across all of those different platforms at different times. So you need to look at how newsrooms actually work. So we'll be looking at that later on in the module. It's really important you get to know the module area on Blackboard. So if you haven't looked already, get onto Blackboard, go to the Essential Reporting module and just have a good explore. There's lots of information in there. I've made sure there's plenty of supporting materials, some interesting stuff you might want to have a look at. All the details about assessments, all of the weekly exercises we'll be doing are all in there. So make sure you have a good explore of Blackboard, because that will almost certainly answer the questions you might have. If you're thinking nobody's told me when the assessment deadlines are or what the assessments are, well, all of that information will be on Blackboard in the module area for Essential Reporting. So assessments, I know it's early days, we're only just started, but it's worth having in mind that you'll be doing 2 assessments. So that's true of all modules. You'll do 2 assessments for each module you do. So the first assignment for this is a news writing test. It's an exam format, and we'll be doing exercises for news writing tests a lot through this module. So we'll come back to this. You'll get very used to this format. All you need to know really at the moment is you'll be doing one, and that it's on Thursday, December the 3rd. So it feels like a lifetime away at the moment, but you'll be surprised how quickly the weeks pass. So 10 a.m. on Thursday, December the 3rd, you'll be doing a news writing test. That'll be online, so you'll be logging on. I'll provide you all the details when we get closer to it. You'll go online, the test paper will become available, then you'll write your answers on a Word document, and then you'll load those in to a thing called Turnitin. Just be aware that we always monitor similarity very, very closely between all of your answers. So if for any reason you attempted to share your answers with somebody else or copy somebody else's work, that would almost certainly show up on the similarity monitoring. So and that can lead to have some fairly serious consequences. So in terms of academic misconduct, you don't want to even go there. Always make sure all of your work is your own, and make sure that you provide references to any information you've taken from another source. You need to reference that. We'll get more into that later on, but just for the moment, you undoubtedly know the basic rules of academic misconduct. Basically, don't copy, don't cheat. Second assignment, which is only worth 30% of the module. That first assignment is worth 70%, but the second assignment is going to be a critical analysis of a news story. So I'm going to ask you to look at a particular news story and then compare it, the way that it's been treated by the same publisher across loads of different platforms. So I'll ask you to look at a story that's going on whenever you want. You can choose any story, but I'll ask you to compare the print version to the online version to the social media version. I'll also ask you to fill in a log, which will ask you to tell me about stories you've read. It'll also ask you to show that you've watched a council meeting, and I'll provide you with links to a council meeting in Salford and in Manchester. So I just want to know that you've watched that and that have a brief report of what you've heard and ideas that you'll have to follow up on what's been said. Don't worry about that. We'll talk more about that as the module goes by. But the deadline for that is on Monday, January the 11th. So that'll be after Christmas. I'm going to be encouraging you to get it done before Christmas, but you do have plenty of time to get that done. But again, time will pass more quickly than you imagined. As with all modules and all assignments, you'll be getting your feedback and grades 15 working days after you've submitted. So we stick to that very firmly. And it's important you understand that it's 15 working days. So weekends are not working days, bank holidays, holidays like Christmas, etc., university shutdown, and those are not working days, but 15 working days later. The specific dates for each of the feedback and grades are in the assignment briefs, which are available on Blackboard. This is what they look like. This document which spells out exactly what you've got to do for each assignment. They're on Blackboard. Make sure you go in, have a look. They're in the module information section. Have a look at those, and that'll tell you exactly what to do. The reminder, and during the module, I'll be coming back to this and talking to you about each of the assignments as well. So plenty of time to get used to them. You'll have plenty of support, plenty of information, plenty of reminders. So if you're feeling a bit overloaded already and thinking, oh, I can't remember what I've got to do, don't worry about that. We'll come back to it. There'll be plenty of reminders. It's worth being aware that it is possible to submit late after the deadlines have passed, but 1 second after the deadline counts as late, so there's no real leeway on that. The system is set to, if the deadline is at 4 p.m, it will mean that if your work comes in at 1 second past 4 p.m, it'll be counted as late. If it is late, your mark will be capped at 40%. So no matter how good your work is, it'll get a maximum of 40%. If it's not worth 40%, it won't reach a pass. 40% is the pass mark, but the most you can get for late work is 40%. So you can be late, but if it's more than 1 calendar week late, then it will be ignored and it will not be marked, and then you'll be told you'll have to do resubmission. So you can be up to 1 week late. And if you're up to 1 week late, it'll be capped at 40%, but after a week, it won't be marked. Excuse me. If you have a adjustment plan, or there are things called PMCs, personal mitigating circumstances, and we can talk about those things later on, that can lift those caps and create a bit more leeway, but you have to formally apply for those through the university. So there's more information on that on the university website. But for now, just the important thing you understand is you must hit the deadline. If you are late by even a second, you'll be penalised and your mark will be capped at 40%. And after a calendar week, it will not be marked at all. Okay, so that's about the module and the assessment preview. So it would be now, if you want to have a break, now's the time to go and get a brief break, then come back and you'll join me for the last section. It'll be a very short section, just introducing the basics of news writing.